Hi, welcome to day number 33 in our Route 66. We're going through the entire Bible, reading it in 1 year. Every day, I'm sharing just a little bit of a summary of what you're reading, as well as some lessons that you can learn. And we're getting into one of the more challenging books to understand, and that's Leviticus, because of the fact that since Jesus came and gave the ultimate sacrifice, no longer does God require an annual or a weekly or a daily sacrifice. We don't have to bring lambs. We don't have to do anything like that because Jesus is our sacrifice. We go to God on the behalf of Jesus because he died for us. However, God set up a sacrificial system so that people could have access to him. And Leviticus, it comes from the word Levi, Levites. That was the tribe, the group, the family group that was in charge of the worship of God. The priests came from the Levites, and so that's what ended up happening with them. That's why it's called Leviticus. So it talks about the sacrifices and the special days and what the priests were supposed to do. So today we're reading Leviticus chapter 1, 2, and 3. The opening section of this Leviticus talks about the sacrifices. Leviticus 1 is talking about the burnt offering. You take an animal, and this was an offering that you were given to show your devotion to God. A lot of these, we often think of the sacrifices as when you did something wrong, you gave a sacrifice. But some of these sacrifices are not because you did something wrong. They're because you want to come to God for some reason. And this one, there is an atonement for sin, but it is a burnt offering. It is completely consumed, and it is total dedication to God. So when you wanted to dedicate something to God, you want to dedicate your life to God, you brought an animal and you brought a burnt sacrifice. Leviticus chapter 2 is a grain offering. I love this one. It's made out of flour. By grain, it's made out of flour. Some versions use the word meal or meat, but it's really a vegetable. You brought flour, oil, incense. It symbolized your thanksgiving and dedication to God. If there was something that you were really thankful for, then you brought a sacrifice to God to thank him for it. And it was food. That was kind of cool. And then in Leviticus 3, there is the peace offering. And this is where, I love this. This is where part of the animal is sacrificed to God, and part of it is shared as a meal to celebrate our fellowship with God. It's kind of like a co-op dinner with God. You know, it sounds kind of weird, but just picture this. God, when you wanted to spend time with God, what you did was you could go to the tabernacle and you could take whatever animal you had and you would offer part of it to God, and you would take the other part and you would eat that, and you would think about God and your fellowship with God. So that's kind of a cool thing. Now, we don't have to do any of that, but I think all of these are involved in our relationship with God. Dedication, thankfulness, and fellowship with God. So what are some lessons that we can learn? Well, one is worship requires sacrifice. You can't just come to God like you are. There needs to be a sacrifice. And that Jesus is our sacrifice, but even then there had to be a sacrifice. Worship and access to God always requires a sacrifice. Another lesson is to be thankful. They had a special offering just that you could give, so that because you were thankful for what God had done for you. And it's always, we may not have to sacrifice something, but make sure that we are grateful for the blessings that God gives us. And then third, God desires fellowship. This whole tabernacle thing that he had them build, the sacrificial system, was because God wanted fellowship with them. The peace offering shows that God wants to have a close relationship with us. God wants to have a close relationship with you. That's why Jesus died on the cross, so that you could come close to God, spend time with him, talk with him, read his word, hear his word. So enjoy your reading today, Leviticus 1, 2, and 3. I think this will help you understand and be appreciative that we don't have to do this, but understand why they did it. And these people did it no matter what the sacrifice was. God bless you, and I hope you